detail that moves you. Get Chase Sapphire Reserve. Make more of what's yours.
There are trucks, then there's the truck, GMC Sierra. Available with the V8 engine.
Find the detail that moves you. Get Chase Sapphire Reserve. Make more of what's yours.
There are trucks, then there's the truck, GMC Sierra. Available with the V8 engine.
Hey guys, this is Matt for Creative, and today we're taking a look at the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the iPhone 14 Pro Max. And if you didn't guess by the title, this is the big difference between these two cameras, at least for me, in just day-to-day use. Now, I have a stable of phones that I continually just try to see what works best for me. I think I've talked about this a lot, but one of my favorite phones is the iPhone 13 mini, but unfortunately that doesn't have a telephoto lens at all. So you really don't get the opportunity to use that, and if I'm going to a sporting event, if I'm going to a concert, I need to be able to zoom in. That's just, I see myself using that a lot more, and actually even when I'm just kind of filming around, the zoom is something that's just become just more and more important for me. So with the iPhone 14 Pro Max, it has a 3x zoom. Every phone that Apple has, I think in the last few years, has a 3x zoom. Another phone that I use is the iPhone 13 Pro, not the Max. That one has a 3x zoom. That's when it had only 12 megapixels, so you couldn't do that kind of cut in between. This one has 48 megapixels, not on the zoom lens though, they're just on the main lens. But I always found the iPhone 14 and even the iPhone 13 Pro's 3x zoom lens just kind of muddy. I even set it to 4K 30 frames per second, where I'd prefer doing 4K 60 frames per second, and a lot of the time it's going to go back and default to the main sensor and just kind of get this pixelated look. And even if it does work as it's supposed to, and there's enough light for it to activate the real 3x zoom, it's just a muddy image, and it's not something that looks really that usable. So right now we have so much light around me here, and I'm kind of just zooming in on the camera. You can see, I can see myself, I can see the camera here, we're focusing in on it, and just for me, it doesn't look clear. I've cleaned these lenses, I've done the best that I can here, and it's not super clear. Now the big difference that I found is the 5x zoom, and I kind of wish that I had the iPhone 15 Pro to see if they've also improved the 3x zoom, but the 5x zoom on this is first more zoomed in. So if you're at a sporting event or concert, you can be farther away and you can zoom really in on the subject, but this is just a clearer lens, and you do get more of the background blur if you have the subject, let's say right here, and you have, more spacing behind it. It is just a much more usable lens. And we're gonna just record again here. Let's see. And of course, right now, it wants to use the regular lens because, I don't know why, there's so much light here. It's crisp, it's clear. It is not doing what I want it to do right now. It's a possibility that I'm a little bit too close for this, and of course it's just doing this. See, this is what happens when you're using the sensor of like the main 48 megapixel sensor, and it just, maybe again, it's a little bit too close. But the first video that you saw, the first, before we started here, the first video was the 5x zoom. The second, and you can even see it's pretty dark out there, and 4K 60, it was nice and crisp. It was using the proper sensor and the proper lens, and it just looked good. And the second video was the 3x, and it wasn't focusing correctly. It also looked muddy, and it needed more light. That 5x is just something that I've really loved doing, loved looking at. you can probably take a look at my Instagram, and you can even see just like I've started using that while I've been walking around kind of tracking shots. I use the active mode as well, where it kind of crops in. I think it makes, no, sorry, it doesn't, yeah, it does crop in a little bit. But the stabilized shots on this are just beautiful. While not at 4K, but 2.8K, it's still very crisp and clear. But just for me, that 5x zoom is all the difference. So if you're, again, like a content creator, if you're a photographer, if you're a videographer, this has, for me, 2 lenses now that are to be used professionally. I would always say that main sensor, that, 1x is always going to be usable for me. Unfortunately, the 0.5 is still kind of just like, I'll use it, but I can never use it like professionally. It just doesn't have, maybe for a wide shot in a pinch, but for me it's a little bit too muddy still. But that 5x zoom is a very, very crisp and clear lens and very usable. So if you're thinking about upgrading, that is like the major thing that I've seen, that, I've gone through. Of course, it's going to be the difference in weight. The 14 Pro Max with the stainless steel is always going to be heavier. I do like the look of that shininess more than the titanium look. But of course, this is lighter weight. But it really depends on how you use this. But again, as a content creator, it's something that I just really, really like. I do have to add one more thing since we're doing a comparison. The USB-C port stopped working. I've never had a port stop working on any iPhone ever. This port has stopped working. Not sure what happened here. I'm gonna take it to the Apple Store, but at least, and I didn't even notice this for a while because I really charge with MagSafe all the time. But when I was trying to import things, it just wasn't recognizing it. And again, never had that happen, but for the first time as a USB-C port, it just kind of gave me issues. Anyway, guys, this has been a comparison between the iPhone 14 Pro Max with 3x zoom that is not really usable, I would say, to a now very usable 5x zoom on the 15 Pro Max. Guys, if you have any comments or questions, put it in the comments section below. Don't forget, I'm on Instagram and Threads at M8B9. You can email me at creativenyc2024. Finally made the new Gmail account. And yes, thank you so much for watching, guys. I was a little bit under the weather for the first couple weeks here in January. I couldn't really talk. I'd had to really kind of keep things low. But now I'm back. We're going to be making more content again, and I have a few exciting things coming. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for sticking with me. And again, please, anybody, comment section, Instagram, DM me, email me. I'm always here for you guys. Thank you so much. I will see you next time.